Can I tell you something?
Okay.
So
Here we go.
you know how I'm a bit of a grub, and
Do I ever? Can I paint the picture of you being a grub?
Yes, please.
Pip would literally like eat something in the back of the fridge that's been sitting there for like a month, that's been expired for like 6 months, and just be like, whatever, it's all good.
Yeah, that's me. I also famously do say that I find showers kind of annoying. Like, I'm disgusting. I'm the worst.
I did just do a 3-day camping festival with you.
Yes. And I said I've never showered at a camping festival ever. And I did, and it was really good, actually.
Isn't it stunning?
It's really good. But yeah, I did shower today. My hair is soft, as you can tell. I washed it. Anyway, so I think I may have actually found like the threshold, the boundary, a line that I've crossed that I was like, I think this was too far in terms of like my disgustingness.
You grubbed too close to the sun.
I did grub too close to the sun, but I'll have you know I didn't get sick from what I ate.
What? Tell us what happened.
So on the weekend, I had some spare food out and had some people over at the house, and someone was eating this like chicken like pita wrap thing from like a Greek place. So it had like chips and chicken and stuff like that. We went to a festival and then came back, had a few drinks. I went to bed, and then the next day I woke up and I noticed that the chicken wrap was still like out on the table, but it had been really cold because it was in Melbourne. We're in Melbourne. It was been cold lately. And I looked at it and I was like, this is such a waste. This is such a good chicken wrap.
And it was someone else's.
It was technically mine, but I gave it to them, so they ate half of it and then I ate the rest. And it had been out for like over 24 hours out of the fridge. And I was like, smells good, tastes good. Let's just give it a whirl. Let's just throw the dice. And I ate it.
Did you have any sort of...
Not a twinge.
Oh.
But I do feel like this was probably like danger zone chicken vibes out on the kitchen table.
It actually kills me how much Pip does stuff like that, and you are so fine, and I'll just have a slight temperature change in my room overnight and I'll be like
spiral.
sick. I'll be in the ICU for like 2 weeks.
It's so true. Like, I actually can't explain to you enough that like
It's so unfair.
and this is why I'm strong and you're weak.
Wow.
Because I expose myself to so much shit.
I'm strong in the mind. My body might be physically weak, but I'm strong in my mind.
That's true. I'm a mess up here. Yeah. Don't even. I'm a mess. I need to go to therapy.
Yes, that as well. Okay, so if you didn't listen to last week's episode, I would like to say please go and listen, because it is an episode we put a lot of effort into. We did a lot of research. It was a really big topic. It was about the gender divide that is happening with young people politically and how it's causing a bit of a dating recession. Basically, women don't want to date men anymore. It's a whole thing. Anyway, we obviously heard from you, and it got us talking about like, how are we supposed to date now, right? Like, women don't really trust men. People fucking hate dating apps.
Yes.
So in this episode, Pip and I were like, all right, what's like a way that you could date where there's a bit of trust, it doesn't involve dating apps?
Setting up friends. Vouching for your friends. Making a little meet cute happen. Being the Cupid of the friend group.
Oh my God, being a matchmaker.
And being a matchmaker. Now, this is something that you have experience in. I have been
been match made.
I've been match made. But was it successful? You're about to find out. So in this episode, we're going to figure out matchmaking, the good, the bad, the rules, and hear your stories.
Yeah, and as always, we put it up on our Instagram at Triple J the Hookup to ask you how you felt about being set up by friends. And this is huge, 89% of you said that you would rather be set up by a friend than find someone on a dating app.
Yeah, obviously so many people were fans of this. We had heaps of DMs coming through, and Paige is someone who had sent us a voice memo talking about why she highly recommends matchmaking.
The thing that I enjoy most about being set up with people is that it has meant that I've dated people I wouldn't have come across on the apps, either from their, age or radius, or people whose profile I might have skipped across if they were just, 2D people in a bunch of other people. But knowing that they've been pre-vetted and recommended as nice people means that I'm more willing to give it a go. And so it's no pressure. It's just like any other first date. But I definitely do find it easier to open up with people who have been, I've been set up with, because, it's less risky. You've been assured that they're not an asshole, basically. I highly recommend it to people. It's also super flattering if someone does recommend you to one of their friends. It means that they think that you'd be a good catch. And it also outsources your dating admin, which I am all for. Put everyone else on the radar. Get them to do the work.
I love that.
I know, that was such a good summary.
No more late night scrolling.
Yeah.
You don't have to do the work anymore. Just tell your friends, hey, who have you got that you would set me up with?
Yeah.
And it is kind of what we were saying, like there's a lack of trust at the moment, right? And like your friends are your friends for a reason. You trust them. You would hope that they would have similar friends to you values-wise. So I think like it was such a huge response from you of like, yes, please, all I want is to be set up by my friends. But what's really interesting is only 40% of you have actually had that happen. You've only had a friend set you up. And out of that 40%, only 37% of you said it was successful. And successful being you started dating after.
I hate that the numbers keep going down.
So everyone, so basically if we're like unpicking those polls, everyone wants to be set up by a friend.
Yeah, 90% of you basically, you want it.
But only 37 has been successful, 37% of people who have been set up have been successful. Like the numbers are low. So why?
There's a few reasons. And we asked you, we got so many different responses on this. And I think kind of the main one is really well summarized by Naomi.
So I've had a few friends offer to set me up with their friends, which I love in theory, love that idea, love that they come pre-vetted. But in actual practice, I don't know that like that much thought has gone into these matches. Like in the past, when they're kind of like, oh, this guy, I'll show you this guy, sort of like pull up, his profile or a picture of him or whatever. It's often someone that I feel like I would just not connect with, usually based on things like politics, values, morals, that sort of thing. And it just seems like a bit of a random kind of, let's palm our friends off together. Let's just get all the singles together. You guys should go out because you're both single. And it doesn't really feel like they've invested that much thought into the match itself.
Do you relate to this? Because
I
you were single for 7 years.
I relate to this so much.
So were you like the perpetually single friend?
I was the perpetually single friend.
Yeah.
And which I actually really enjoyed. But a lot of my friends were like, oh my God, no, I've got the guy for you. Like, trust me, it's this guy from work or it's this guy from like my primary school or high school or whatever it is. Because it was never the guy that was like in the friendship group. It was like the guy on the outskirts, right? That I had never met. And it's always like, oh, trust me, I've got someone for you.
Okay.
So I've been set up on dates a few times and they just have not gone well at all. And it's kind of what Naomi said. It's really because they've just gone, you're single, let's put you together.
Now kiss.
Literally. And like one date in particular, I remember this guy was like just not anyone that I would remotely have even swiped on a dating app, which sometimes I think can be a good thing.
Totally.
But just worlds apart. Like he was a country guy, like real traditional values, like wanted a wife, kids, the whole thing. And I was like, oh no, I'm like moving to the city. I want to move to Europe. I want to party. Like, it was just, we were not aligned in that way.
And then when you went back to the friend and they go, how did it go? And you literally have to kind of like let them down a bit.
Yeah. And you almost kind of get pissed off at the friend.
Yeah. Cause you're like, why'd you waste my time?
Why did you think it's almost like offensive? Like, you know how Paige was like, oh, it's so flattering that this person thinks so highly of you.
Totally.
So a little bit of me gets a bit like, maybe it's the ego in me going, baby girl, like, why did you think that we would match?
Yeah.
Like, and kind of what Naomi was saying, like, it is definitely a thing where people go, you're single. But it is even more, and we saw this in our DMs.
Yes.
Even more of a thing for queer people.
Big
and
time, yeah.
my housemate Brendan, bestie and housemate Brendan, who I've mentioned before in this pod, he talks to me about this all the time as a gay man. And so you and I were like on Zoom on our work meeting, and I was
like, can we say we were literally talking about this whole podcast?
And I was like, Brendan, just recorded him, and I was like, just tell us how it is. So here's what he said.
I've had many people say to me, oh my God, you're gay. I've got a gay friend. Oh my God, you guys will get along so well. And then they show you a photo of the friend and it's like, really? I think the only thing we have in common is that we're attracted to the same sex.
I love him. I had to mute myself on the Zoom because I was like laughing at this, but it is so true. Like you said, we had so many DMs. Liberty saying, as a lesbian, this happens often. Someone knows another queer and that's all the thought, so it never works. Another thing you brought up in our DMs as well is sort of having to be like the middleman in this situation as a friend, and it kind of can put you in a bit of a precarious spot. So Emily sent us a voice memo about this.
So the situation was me and my ex-boyfriend set up our two best friends together. All was going really well and good until his friend started saying really bad things about my friend to my ex-boyfriend. And ultimately I heard all this stuff and I was kind of caught in this ethical dilemma of whether or not to tell my friend these negative things her partner was saying about her. And I guess the downside of like setting up friends is you do have that situation where at times you might become the middleman and you might have to pick sides, which, you know, might not be in anyone's interest. But yeah, I just kind of was caught in the middle and it just made things a bit awkward and a bit uncomfortable.
Wow.
We got a DM from Jane saying, TBH, it has the same pitfalls as online dating. Most people are not honest about who they really want and who they really are.
Oh, I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like on dating apps, people are I don't want to say so dishonest, but like you are putting up a very small snippet of yourself that's really curated, right? Like you are deciding how you want the world to view you, whereas like your friends hopefully see a more honest, authentic version of yourself that they can then think when matchmaking, like who would best suit you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%.
Yeah.
In an ideal situation, you absolutely would be correct there. But in some people's situations, and we heard from Bing here talking about how she second guessed maybe setting up people because she thought maybe I don't fully know this person. And also what Bing says in this voice memo, by the way, just like a little content warning, it's about sexual assault.
I think my hesitation for setting up friends came after I saw Daniel Sloss's Netflix special, Jigsaw. He mentions that, he introduced somebody to his best friend and he didn't really know the true essence of what he was like in a relationship or alone with another person, and that led to his best friend's rape. So that made me think twice, like, do I really, really know the people that I think I know? And who are they behind closed doors?
Isn't it horrible? I mean, I wanted to say that this is like a small percentage of people, and I truly do think it is, but we did get like a few DMs kind of like echoing this sentiment as well. Like Lauren saying, my boyfriend set up his two friends. They dated for 2 years, but he was a creep/pest and bad in the end. And my boyfriend and nobody else knew it at the time until they broke up and she told us everything.
First of all, obsessed with Jigsaw. If anyone's never watched it, Daniel Sloss's Netflix special Jigsaw is like something that fundamentally changed the way my brain works.
Oh, totally. You talk about it all the time.
I talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
So shout out to Daniel Sloss. Secondly, this has happened in my own friendship groups.
Really?
Yes. Where people have like gone to vouch for this guy and like for months on end being like, he's the best, like you should date him, blah, blah, blah. Really pushed a set up moment. And then, like similar energy, like it just did not go down well and it completely caused such a huge rift in the friendship group. And it's kind of like, I know we're saying like with Jane, like, oh, people probably know you better in real life as friends than like on dating apps. I mean, the risk of sexual assault is going to be everywhere.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just really sad to hear that this can happen. Or I think it makes it even more traumatic when it's someone that your friend has recommended rather than a stranger on a dating app.
Can you
imagine?
imagine?
Like your friend has vouched for this person.
Yeah. You'd feel sick. Like you genuinely would just feel so upset at it. And it's not just like sexual assault stuff that can happen as well. We got this DM from Nicole saying, my friend set us up and she broke my heart. My friend and I both had no idea how much unresolved trauma her friend had. She said that if she knew, she never would have set us up.
There's like a different version of yourself in relationships than it is in friendships. Like sometimes in a relationship, the person can hold a mirror to unresolved trauma or stuff from your childhood in a way that is like unhealthy and toxic that you would never, ever, ever come up in a friendship.
That's so true. I really hope anyone listening to this doesn't get fully like turned off by doing friend setting up.
No.
Because I still do believe in it. And we do have some good stories.
We just have to obviously show the range.
Yeah.
And like this is stuff that was like coming through on our DMs.
Yeah, like if we're getting multiple messages about it, we're going to talk about it. This one I really relate to though by AJ. He talked about a time where he just kind of felt too much pressure from his friends.
In my experience, when my mates try to set me up with someone, it did not go well. They try to set me up with another mutual friend of theirs who was also single. I was already feeling quite nervous even before I met her, as my mates were already planning double dates in their head and telling me why this girl is so perfect for me. Even before getting to know her myself, I was already feeling anxious around what if things didn't work out between us, then what would happen in our friendship.
Do you want to hear what happened when you met her?
This was on my birthday when my mates first introduced me to this girl. Nerves got to me and then I wished her happy birthday instead of waiting for her to wish me first and tank my impression.
So it was his birthday.
And
she meets him and he goes happy birthday to her because he's so fucking stressed out. The pressure from his friends to perform in this moment because they were like, you should date this girl.
AJ.
Oh, God.
AJ.
So I completely agree and feel like what he's saying here, like about the pressure thing. So this happened to me like not too long ago. It was a friend of mine who really wanted me to meet her boyfriend's best friend. And she was like, for 6 months at least, she was like, you got to meet this guy. Like, you guys will get along, blah, blah, blah. And I know she was in my ear and I know she was in the other guy's ear as well. So she was building up to be this thing. And there were moments where we're like, oh, we're going to meet. No, we didn't. And then we did meet at the end of the year and nothing happened. He didn't want a bar of me. And I found out later that I think it just got to his head a bit and the pressure was too much and he just like really got in his own way.
Why do friends do this?
It pisses me off.
So common. This is so common, that pressure that friends put on things. And as someone who is, and I say this because this is me, like I am her. Like I do this. Like I put so much pressure on like talking people up to each other and trying to like being like, oh my God, you'd be perfect for each other.
You
like,
oversell it.
Who am I to know that someone would be perfect for someone else?
No.
And you like sell, because I saw this happening for you and you almost like sell the person as like you put them on a pedestal, like you sell them and say,
baby, I was buying tickets. I was all in.
Ready.
I was ready. I was excited. And then just the expectation of it was too high. The stakes were too high. And at that point we only had a way to fall.
He is obviously acting like a bit of a dick because that's he's shutting off. He's like shutting off and not giving you anything. So you're like, wait, you said this was like the best guy you've ever met and he's
giving me nothing.
He's kind of rude.
Yeah, exactly. It felt so bad at the time, honestly. And I honestly had like a little spiral about it because I was like, is it me? And then I was like, no. I blame the friend.
Yeah,
no offense.
It's pressure of the matchmaking. And as someone who has done that, I have to say there is a selfishness that comes into this. We had so many DMs from you of being the matchmaker, of people being like, I match-made my friend.
They're very proud.
They're so proud. They're 10 years married with kids. Like people are so proud. So I think it comes from a place of like selfishness of being like, I did that.
You know what? It's like the flip for me. I'm selfish in that I don't want to matchmake people. I don't even recommend people for jobs because I'm like, that's my reputation on the line. Because if they fuck up in the workplace or in a relationship sense, then they like the person's going to look at me and be like, what the fuck? Like,
you don't
why?
want your name to be dragged.
Totally. You'll never catch me matchmaking. It's too much pressure. You still love it?
I still want to be the person that's like, I did that.
You little Cupid. I'm glad that you're here for it.
At the wedding, you just picture like you in the speech just being like, I would like to thank D. Salmon for bringing us together.
That's your end game because you want a mention in the fucking wedding speech. That is selfish.
Yeah.
Time out.
Timeout's in the corner. No, I really do need to reflect and think about my ways.
Yeah, you do.
As does anyone else listening or watching this.
Yeah.
Why are you matchmaking?
Why are you doing it?
Unpack it, please.
It's got to come from a good place. Okay. Another big thing that people were worried about when it comes to matchmaking is the risk that it has on the friends, right? There's a lot of fallout that can happen, and Bridget told us about this.
As someone who has both been the matchmaker and matchmakee, I've found it challenging in the past when things end poorly and it becomes a big rift in the friend group. If you're going to set your best mates up, you have to be prepared to choose sides if your friendship with them both is on the line. It's hard because you feel stuck in the middle of supporting them and staying neutral at the same time. On the other side, you tend to build up resentment unintentionally because you start to feel like you can't speak to the people that you'd usually go to for support at times like these when it's in the friend group. There are so many cases where friendship groups could remain intact after a messy split, but I think it's way too risky to get together in the first place unless you have an exit plan or know that your friendships are strong enough to survive whatever the outcome.
Yeah, like I said, that happened to my friendship group. And I don't think we've ever really recovered, to be honest. We got a DM from Jono about this. He said, I was set up by friends. Relationship lasted 4 years and now we've split. Feels like I've lost them as well as my friends. This is the thing. Sometimes you're going to have to pick sides in the divorce.
Yeah.
People need to think this through.
Okay, so obviously we need to talk about the rules of matchmaking.
Yeah, I feel like we have spent a lot of time talking about all the ways that it can go wrong.
I know. Don't lose hope.
No. We still have hope. We'll get to the hope.
Yes.
But it is just because like 37% of you said that it didn't work.
Yeah.
So we had to unpack why.
Yes.
So now having done that, to make it successful, what are the rules?
Well, we had a lot of good suggestions. I really like this one from Courtney.
I think the most important thing is that it's low stakes, pretty casual. So the people who said things like, oh, we just had a group hang and then we met, I think that's probably a better way because it takes the pressure off. And it also tells those people that you're not going to have lots of expectations of the situation. And I think that it's a good idea to go outer circle or acquaintances rather than inner circle. At the very least, set up like your best friend with someone from work or an acquaintance. So yeah, go into it with as few stakes as possible, and then it might work out, it might not, and then at least no one involved is like upset.
Love this.
That is great advice. Never set up two best friends.
No tier ones.
Yeah.
Only tier 2, 3s.
Yeah.
And
Like you,
acquaintances.
but I agree. She was like, you could do your best friend with a outlier tier 4 kind of person.
Yeah, but then and then what if they've like,
but then I guess
then your best friend's pissed off at you because you've set them up with someone that sucked. So I think you don't go. I think you don't even go best friend.
So
I
you
think,
really go like outer
I think
circle.
go outer circle. Like I've made the mistake of doing close friends before. I'm going like single girl in the office, who's like tier 3.
You almost have a lot of energy to matchmake because then I'm like, if we're going really out of friends, I'm like, why do I care if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend?
For selfish reasons to be at the wedding, to be at the fucking wedding,
to be invited as the maid of honor. Oh my God, yeah. Okay, yeah. So you reckon really outer friendship?
Yeah, I'm
tier
thinking
3, 4.
Like I'm thinking to protect the group dynamic.
So girl or boy at the office, maybe like your local barista. You're like, hey, I know someone you could date because you see them every day. You get your little matcha latte from them. Someone on the outside. I think this is good advice.
Yes.
I also really liked Courtney's advice of keeping it cash, keeping it low stakes. I like the group hang idea.
Yeah.
Of just like organically kind of being like, oh wow, you guys are here.
This is a thing we have to debate around the rules.
Yeah.
Because Simon sent us a voice memo saying that everyone involved in this setup needs to know.
Well, from my experience, I would say everyone has to be on board with the setups, and the timing is also important because some friends will tell you, hey, I should set you up with blank, but it's like right after you've broken up with someone, and that's not the vibe.
So he originally said when everyone needs to be on board. So like everyone needs to know that they're getting set up, he reckons.
I would like to say that maybe my rule would be that only one person needs to know.
Okay. I think like for me personally, I'm like even better if no one knows. Really organic that shit.
So you think just group setting, you in your mind are like matchmaking.
Yeah.
But the people who you're matchmaking have no idea that you're matchmaking.
Yeah, like I'm playing chess, they're playing checkers vibe. Like mastermind, no one knows, probably won't get a mention at the wedding when they do get married, but I'm okay with it because I played the long game.
It's not selfish.
It's not selfish.
You're doing for the great
And then
good.
if there's a fallout, no one knows. You fade into the background like Homer Simpson going into that hedge.
That is
no
a
one fucking
really
knows.
safe move.
But you reckon one person should know?
I think one person should know.
Okay.
I worry that with two people knowing, it's too much pressure.
I can attest to that.
Which I think we've realized. So I think one person needs to know because then they can kind of like keep their eye out for the person if it's a group setting or like make some moves organically themselves. Because I think in a situation like one person needs to be the pursuer in any sort of dating scenario. Like one person needs to be like interested in the other person.
Yeah.
And then they can tell if the other person's interested or not. So I think that if you just like no one knows, everyone's kind of just like bumping into shit. Do you reckon?
I like this.
Yeah.
I can get on board with
that's
that.
a good rule.
Yeah.
And Simon also said that timing matters. I disagree because we had people who messaged us saying that they got set up as like a fuck buddy and it was like the best thing that they've experienced.
Yes.
So it doesn't necessarily mean like when we're talking about being set up with friends, of course we're talking about dating, but also like you can be set up. I was set up by a friend with a guy that had just gone out of a long-term relationship and we casually slept together for months and it was like so beautiful.
It's exactly what you needed.
Exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
We're still friends today.
Yep.
I love him as a person. And so I have my beautiful friend to thank for that. And it's like timing, I don't know. Depends what you're after.
I mean, we did a whole episode like 2 years ago and it was like, does timing matter? It was so crazy how split down the middle it was. Some people were like, nah, doesn't matter. Like timing's never going to be good. Just go for what you want.
So I wouldn't say timing is like a set rule.
Yeah, I feel that. Another rule that I think we should add to this is, and we've sort of mentioned it, but it's like, don't oversell your product. Don't oversell your person. You got to like under promise, over deliver. And that's again, the pressure, the stakes, like keep it very low key.
Yeah. Another one, give people specific reasons why you think that they would be compatible.
Yeah, like you would understand that because you were literally like, oh, two single people.
Two single people.
Come together.
It's like, okay, no, but why do you think? What is it about them and what is it about me that you think would make a great match?
Yeah, like pitch it to me. Like, make
sell
me
it.
want that. Yeah.
PowerPoint presentation.
Literally.
A few more rules.
Yes.
Beth said you need to have a plan for the friendship group if it doesn't work out. I love this as a rule.
Yeah.
I think if you have decided to go close friends and set them up, please think of what could happen.
You got to have a contingency.
Yeah.
Some kind of evac plan.
Yeah.
Break glass if needed. But look, we've talked a lot about all the dangerous and the risky things that you can do with matchmaking. Still, there are a lot of success stories. So I just want to end the episode by saying these ones because I don't want anyone to lose hope. Ariel said, my best friend set me up with her friend who I'd heard lots about but never met him by telling him to message me. Then we hung out for a few weeks and now we've been together for 3 years.
I like the DM slide as a way of just being like, hey,
how are you?
My friend kind of likes you. Here's their deets. Because then it's like, you've just given the details. You've done nothing to facilitate.
That's pretty easy
That's
going.
really easy going.
Yeah.
Tash says, a friend set me up with one of his mates after I went through a breakup. We didn't end up dating, but we got on really well as friends and ended up being fuck buddies for a bit. It was exactly what I needed then. That's what I was saying.
Exactly. Samuel said, I got set up by a mutual friend and now we're married. We had so many people who were like married, kids, the whole damn thing. So look, it can be done. It can be a beautiful thing.
I still completely agree with the 90% of people saying it's better than a dating app.
Yeah.
I think you just need to follow the rules, which we've discussed.
I'm happy to change my mind. I obviously had the recent experience that was not that great, but I'm always open to these things. So friends, we need more straight guy friends in the friend groups. Honestly, that's the only reason why I'm not getting set up because all my guy friends are gay. So it's not working out for me.
You're still trying though.
I'm trying.
Like this YouTube, please, because we are new. We're a new vodcast and you know how algorithms work. Like we can't keep getting put into the feed and finding new people to listen unless you are engaging and liking and telling us you love us. So please do that.
Yeah. And see you in the DMs.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.